Hello. And welcome to CatavanCast, van life with a cat. It's the show where we discuss our experiences travelling through the many countries of Europe and others in a camper van. I'm Ben.
I'm Frey. Darga was in my lap, but I made her move.
Where's she gone? She
Somewhere.
just sat on the floor looking at us. She knows we're talking about her, that's all.
That's all she needs to know.
That's all she needs to know. And today we're doing Morocco part
4?
4 or 5, possibly.
4.
Maybe it's 4.
Pretty sure it's 4.
Anyway, a continuation of our Morocco escapade. It's interesting coincidental we get onto this one today. We've just had our camper van back from its MOT. It just spent a year doing this trip.
Yeah.
Took it for an MOT. It failed its MOT.
As we expected.
Yes.
Yes.
They did their work on it.
They did.
And we got it back.
Yep.
It's passed its MOT.
Yep. It's
Although
good for another year.
It's odd though that the MOT means it's good for another year, but then on the note it's like, but this needs to be fixed ASAP.
Yeah.
It's
urgent, but not urgent.
Yeah, it's a minor fault, but it is still severe in the description of the fault, which is, I'm sure it's fine. It'll be fine, and that's appropriate today because on this episode we're going to be talking about the horror.
The horror
incident, which kind of tainted,
yes,
kind of left a bit of a smudge on our experience in Morocco.
a little bit.
So we finished last episode. We booked a little hotel sort of thing, a house stay out near Marrakesh. We cut that trip short because we heard the garage in Tafrouz was having problems with the van.
Yes.
They couldn't get it started.
Yes.
So we rushed back all the way around part of the Atlas Mountains to Tafrouz, where we were told that Saeed said, which is spelled said, said that the battery was dead. No, that was pretty obvious that wasn't the case.
I was
it?
like, no,
Yeah.
the battery's not dead.
The lights turned on, and the engine started. Like, you could hear it. It was turning over.
It was turning over fine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't starting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, we just had a whole day of driving. So we were like, okay, we'll have a look in the morning. I had luckily had some electrical testers with me. So we looked at what the acceptable limits should be, tested it, it was fine. So the battery was reading it was good. They didn't quite believe that, did they?
Nope.
So they went and they got their mate with a pickup truck.
Yes. Yeah.
And they took that, I think they tried to jump start it, didn't they?
Yes.
That didn't work.
Yep.
So then they took our battery out, put this pickup truck battery in. That was actually worse than our battery. We were pretty sure it was the immobilizer. Thought that the battery and the key had maybe
have gone. Yep.
So we took that and got that replaced. I do remember actually the guy, he said, "Oh, your light wasn't working on your key." Like,
there's a light.
So the key works better now, and that still didn't start the van. But then we were there watching them, and they were trying to get the van started, and this was when it got a bit heated, yeah, because they were. Would you want to?
So I'm somewhat mechanically savvy.
Yeah, you've worked in the motor industry.
Yes.
Yes.
And since before then, I've built motorbikes and things like that, so I know my engines as it goes. So I already said before we even got back to Tafrouz, I said it's not the battery. From what he's describing, it's not the battery. When they were trying to turn it on, I was like, it's not the battery, it's something else. But being in Morocco, me being a female counts for nothing. I might as well just not be there. So if I say something, it doesn't count. But then if you repeat the exact same thing, they then open up a dialogue about it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sat there getting more and more and more agitated about what these chaps are doing to the van, to my home. So it just got to a point where I just shouted at them.
Well, because the thing with the van is that it's an old diesel van.
It's an old school diesel van,
So we've always kind of laughed at how we have to start it up. Like you turn the ignition.
Yeah.
Not fully. You turn the car on, and you wait for it takes about 5 maybe seconds for the glow plug light to turn off.
Yep.
And in a better diesel engine, you could then turn it on. But in Moya, you have to depending on the temperature. Leave it to the count of 3 or 5,
Yeah.
depending on how cold it is, and then turn it on. And if that doesn't work, try it again. It will almost always work the second time.
Yes.
But these guys, they were straight away turning it on and just pounding on the accelerator, trying to pump. Oh, God, just kick the cat. Oh my God. That's what I get for trying to mine starting.
Listeners can't see you, Ben. It's just me. You just kicked the poor cat.
Yeah, just kick the cat, my word. Oh dear.
She's okay.
Doggo came to say hello.
But she's not coming back.
Yeah, they were just... They would have flooded the engine.
They did flood the engine.
They did flood the engine. And
100%.
They're just going to completely damage the thing. So we had a bit of a go. Just told them, so don't touch it. Like
get away from the van.
Leave this van alone now. And we walked away, and when we came back, they very sheepishly came up and said, "Oh, we're going to get someone in from out of town, a qualified person, to have a look." And we're like, okay, fine, we'll come in the next day. But that next day was when we stopped in a hotel, because we'd been out to this place near Marrakesh. The idea was to get a shower.
Yeah.
Well, use the opportunity to have a shower. But it was...
Here she comes.
Here comes the cat. But it was a communal toilet.
Yes.
With a shower in it. And there were like 2 other families, and I think Hamid's family, using it. So we weren't comfortable showering there. So we booked ourselves a hotel.
Yes. I wonder if people can now hear Dargo's purrs.
This will be a first.
Yeah,
actually, proof we have a cat.
Or it's just you making the noises.
Just me. I'm just hungry. Yeah, so we stopped in this hotel in Taffrud, which was very good, to be fair.
Yeah.
They clearly just cleaned it by the time we got in, because there was quite a bit of a bleach.
No, we had to wait, didn't we?
Oh, we did have to wait, yeah.
For it to be ready, but yeah, God, that place absolutely stank.
Yeah, so we had all the...
It's clean.
Yeah. So we spent the night there, and that sort of let us forget about the van for a bit. And we went back the next day, told the mechanic would turn up. And he didn't turn up until about 5 p.m.
Yeah.
But I remember straight away, like as soon as he gave it time for the glow plug light to turn off.
Yep.
And then turn the key, and straight away he's like, he knew it wasn't the battery.
Yep.
So we thought, okay, this guy
knows what he's doing.
He might actually be pretty good. So then we were told that's when we met Ali.
Yes, we did, didn't we? Yeah.
So the guys,
the young chap.
Yeah, the guys at the garage. They have a guy who speaks very good English, and he was kind of translating for us. He didn't know he didn't know the words to describe what was wrong with it.
Well, there's a difference between speaking English and knowing technical mechanical language. I mean, native English speakers can't do that.
Yeah, very true. So we didn't really know what was going on. I thought it was a fuse fault he was trying to say. He said he'd come and fix it tomorrow. So not a big job, quick job, he'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they offered us an electric hookup for the van, which is great. So we sat in. I think we had a pizza night then.
We did.
We went and got takeaway pizza, just sat on our laptops,
just played games.
Just played games, trying to forget about the world for a bit. So the guy turned up the next day. This small, easy job ended up ripping most of the front of the van out, and we're like, okay, what's happening? What's going on? Not because we wake up and we're like, oh, the front's gone.
Yes.
So at this point now we're in the van. The van won't start. It's not finished being painted yet. There's no solar power.
No.
We are hooked up, but the water heater or the water pump does not work off the mains. Sorry, no. It works off the solar power. So we had no water heater. We couldn't run any water. The fridge worked.
Yeah.
But we had no means of cooking food because we couldn't get LPG.
No.
So this is just like, right, this sucks. Then they eventually did paint. I think they did finish painting it that day. Maybe the next day. Ali then eventually came and told us. That's at the end of that day. Ali came and told us that the mechanic hadn't finished the work, but would come back tomorrow, the following day, with another mechanic to finish it. I remember at this point, I wrote down in my diary that we were happy to have Ali because we had some proper communication.
Yes.
But he was too positive.
Yes, and very non-confrontational.
Yeah, it was. You like, I can understand the situation. He just wants
Yeah.
everybody happy, but we're like, no, this is
Like, this needs to be sorted.
this is the bit. We're a long way from home. This is a big worry
Yeah.
for us. Like, we live in this thing.
Yeah.
We can't just put. This is a huge concern for us. The next day, the other mechanic did come. They started ripping the whole front off again, and that's when the other camper vans were moved round next to us.
Yes. Yeah.
So we were now.
We made friends.
Yeah, we made friends. There was people.
Oh.
You going? Where are you going? Just Dargo deciding whether she's going to move into the
Come
microphone or not.
Dargo.
She's out of the way. Good. Yeah, so the other campers came and joined us. We sat around and chatted with them. There was people from France, Italy. The Swiss couple turned up.
Yes.
a
Oh,
bit
yes.
later
There was a
on,
Swiss
yeah.
couple as well, yeah.
Will you
Dargo's
stop
being
walking on
a
the
menace
microphone?
today.
See, when we finally get some in a proper location, I can get a boom stand microphone, and it'll be suspended in the air, and
You know she will still.
she will jump up.
Yeah.
At it, yeah. Yes,
It is Catavan. We need to have the cat.
That's true. We're not in the van.
She
at the
needs
moment.
her say. This is true.
So we had some friends to speak to, and that was nice.
That was nice.
And it's kind of made me feel a bit more of that English-speaking privilege, because you had French, Italian, and Swiss people all speaking English.
Yeah, exactly.
because
and
everybody
we're
learns
sat there
English.
like, I can pick up
Yeah.
the odd word.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at least, yeah, but I was the only person there who only spoke. It was the
One
only person there was
language,
monolingual. Like,
Yeah.
But no, we had a good chat with them, and they were giving us tips where to go in Italy,
Mhm.
because that was our next big destination.
Yeah.
That's when we also told, because over where we in the UK we have Pancake Day
Mhm.
for Shrove Tuesday, but in Italy they have like a week of carnival,
Yeah.
and we were like, that's amazing, that's so much better than what we do. And they're like, well, what do you do? And like, we have Pancake Day, and they were amazed by that. You mean people come into your schools and make pancakes for you? And it's like, yeah, that sounds so much better.
No.
No, it doesn't. Okay, fine.
It's fine. We're going to combine the two and have
Yeah.
Pancake Carnival week.
Pancake Carnival week. Yes, you heard it here first.
Catavan brings you.
But that was the day we found out, the kind of silver lining of this thing. We
Yes.
found out what the knocking noise was that we'd heard in Lithuania,
Yep.
Which about-
that long ago.
which about 4 or 5 other garages hadn't been able to figure out. And to be honest, these guys only figured it out because they ripped the whole front of the van out.
Yeah.
So it was basically the joint where the wheel sits on the wheel
suspension
arm,
arm.
the suspension arm. Yeah, the hole for that had been worn away,
Yes. Mm.
so there shouldn't be any give in it, and there was so much give.
Yeah.
It was, and the knocking was just the weight shifting on it. So this big lump,
Yeah.
this joint is just knocking against the metal.
Mhm.
And they came and showed us this, and one of the French guys said he's worked as a mechanic for some years, and he said that is the most worn one he's ever seen.
Yeah.
He said he's surprised the wheel just didn't fly off as we were driving, especially on the roads in Morocco. He's like, you're lucky to be alive
Yeah.
with that thing. So they had to replace the whole arm, which is this huge big chunk of metal. But luckily, being in Morocco, it wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
It was like the equivalent. It was about €50, wasn't it?
I think so.
Which I dread to think how much that would cost back in Europe. But we got that done, and they started chucking all the other bits together, and they actually bypassed the immobilizer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have just announced that. Our van doesn't have an immobilizer. Yeah, because that was the only way to remedy it, to get the van to start.
Yeah, so that was the issue. It's basically, so every now and then the immobilizer of the vehicle can desync
Yes.
from the keys. So we were along the right lines when
Yeah.
we went and got the key, the batteries changed in the key, because yes, that can be the issue sometimes, but the only way to do it is to take it to a dealership where they will send off for the immobilizer and the key and everything to be reset and then come back, and that process can take 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
From what I'm told,
Well,
and
plus
that was
plus the fact the nearest Renault dealer was in Agadir,
yeah,
which was maybe about 7-8 hour drive.
exactly, and
Something
you'd
like
have
that.
to get the van to them.
Yes. and the van
Well,
couldn't
at least the
move.
immobiliser to them with the keys to be able to do it. But
Yeah.
so that wasn't really possible.
Yeah. So we bypassed the immobiliser. We took it for a drive around the town.
Mhm.
Everything seemed fine.
Yeah.
We had all the bits put back on. The paint job was finished.
Yeah.
Not the right colours.
Nope.
The van is currently yellow, red and green.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a lighter yellow, orange and a lighter green.
Yeah.
But at this point we were just like, the
We're
van
just-
walks, it's a complete paint job. But it wasn't a complete... I remember Ali came out and
Yeah.
was telling us, like, because we were looking at the paint jobs, oh, they've missed bits here, they've missed bits there. And you think, okay, they obviously haven't finished.
Yeah.
And Ali was saying, oh, if there's problems, if you have problems, just tell them, just say and they'll come and do it. And I was like, well, have they finished?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it doesn't look like they've finished. And if they've not done it yet, I don't want to be there telling them, you haven't done this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like going, oh, you missed a spot when the person's still mopping the floor.
Yeah, exactly. But we eventually got it done, and we paid Hassan, the guy who owns the garage, and he gave us some paint pots
Yes.
so we can touch stuff up later on, which it
Needs doing.
needs doing. Well, I think for the most part,
Yeah.
the colours on the actual bodywork
Mm.
is good, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's the paint they put on the bumpers, all the black stuff.
Yeah.
That was just black spray paint.
Mhm.
So we could already see you done that before we left
Yeah.
yourself, and already you can see the gold poking
Coming
through from
through,
like
yeah.
2 or 3 layers of black.
Yeah.
Because they put a few coats of black on while we were there,
They
didn't
did. Yeah.
they? It did look good when it was finished, to be fair,
Mm.
when it was all fresh. But then we're gonna drive to Morocco for another 5 days, so that didn't last. And I remember that night was quite I don't know about poignant, but that was the day in January where Britain officially left the EU.
Yes.
We were sat in a car park in the middle of Morocco with French, Italians and Swiss,
In Swiss.
and just
yeah.
had a big communal meal sort of
Yeah.
thing. That's where
Yeah.
I discovered my love for harissa.
Yes, this is true.
Um,
Oh yeah, the Italian girls. They made rostis, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
They were amazing.
And we introduced
It was
them.
such fun.
We introduced these people to sangria.
We did.
I absolutely loved
It
it.
surprised me that
Yeah,
they hadn't had sangria
it is
before.
quite surprising.
But that was our addition. 5 litres of sangria. for the team.
There you go, chaps. Have fun.
And they did.
They did. So yeah, that was our last day in Tafraout. And I think we said it last week, but it's worth reiterating. Tafraout is a really good place.
It is. Definitely.
It was just tainted by all this trouble. We were there for 12 days. Well, the
Mm.
van was there for 12 days.
It seemed like forever.
Yeah, we went through psychological hell. But you just take a walk down the roads and you look around you and you're surrounded by just mountains disappearing into the clouds.
Yeah.
It's like it's like concept art for some sort of fantasy mountain town. Like,
Yeah.
it is a really good place to visit, and I would recommend it. Just don't get any work done.
I think one day we will go back.
Yeah,
Um,
see how they're doing.
exactly. But just not,
Don't get any work done.
just
though.
don't get any work done.
No. So then we set off. So yeah, we had 5 days until all the insurance ran out
Mm-hmm.
on the van, and we had booked a camel ride in Merzouga,
Yes.
which is on the Sahara Desert,
Yes.
and they take you out into the dunes. So we'd given ourselves 2 days to get over there, with the camel ride going out. I'll double check this.
Mm-hmm.
2 days to get out there,
Yeah.
with the third day being the camel ride out.
I see.
You
Yes.
spend the night in the desert.
Yeah.
And then the next day we got 2 days, 3 days after that. No, that can't be right then. Maybe we had 6 days. Whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, we were going to go to Merzouga
Mm-hmm.
and then head back right up the country to
To the north.
the north to get back into Ceuta before our insurance ran out.
Yes.
Because we didn't want to try and cross from Morocco into Spain with
Unexpired
expired insurance.
yeah.
That just didn't seem like a good idea. So we got out of the town, straight onto, because you're in the middle of the mountains, onto more mountain roads, and I started noticing a wobbling in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
The only thing was, you can't tell whether that's the van or the road.
Yeah.
It soon became apparent that it was the van.
Mm.
It was at certain revs, I think we eventually figured out that the steering wheel would just wobble.
Yeah.
but it was fairly consistent, and we thought, okay, we need to sort this out. So we were heading to, I can never say it, Verzazat?
Yes, what is that?
Verzazat, which has the Atlas Film Studios.
Yeah, which is quite cool.
Yeah, which we didn't get to visit the studios.
No, that's something I definitely like to go back and do.
Yeah, definitely. But the in terms of physical space, land size, it's the largest film studio in the world. Like you said, Ben-Hur was filmed there.
Yes, I believe
Some of the Mummy films were filmed there.
Yeah.
So on the way, we just happened, because you these roads just drive through so many little towns and villages and things, and we saw a garage.
Yeah.
Just a mechanic garage, so we pulled up. The guys didn't speak any English or French.
No, not really.
So
I think
we
the
were
kids
kinda
spoke a little bit.
I think,
not much,
yeah, it was like a father and son just sat outside
Yeah.
the garage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we tried to, we could just mime wobble.
Yeah.
And they did rotate the tyres a bit, didn't they?
They did. They swapped the tyres over
Yeah.
to see if that would help.
Yeah, but that didn't help, and they were like, no, we can't. We don't
Like,
know.
this is too much. Like, yeah.
We did pay them. They didn't want paying,
No.
but we thought, well, no, we've wasted your time. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we carried on, and now the problem then is that every bump, every sound, every smell
I know.
is now something to worry about.
Yeah.
So that was psychologically an incredibly long day.
Mhm.
And we were not having a good day with that one. It was quite a bad shake as well.
I think we spent most of that day in silence because of how concerned we were. Which is very unlike us.
It is, yeah, that's true. So we were heading towards. Verzazat was where we were going to spend the night.
Yes.
On the way there. So I'd noticed that the wobbling seemed to ease off at about 80 kilometres an hour. And the roads were starting to open up a bit. We were between mountain ranges
Yeah.
at this point. So I'm trying to keep it at 80 kilometres an hour. I was trying to keep it at 80 kilometres an hour so much that I got pulled over for speeding because I should have been doing 60.
Forgot about that.
They caught me on a speed camera. And it's very good how they do it, to be fair. Like we've said before, how in Morocco there are regular police checkpoints.
Yes.
You just slow down and they'll wave you through. Excuse me, something in the back of my throat. And these guys were just in by the entrance to a small town. And they waved me down and said, yeah, you were speeding. I was like, oh, God, okay. And they get you out of your vehicle and they show you the recording on the speed camera. Now, we've just had the van painted bright colours. And he's like, this is your vehicle, yes? I was like, yeah.
Can't really say no.
I cannot deny that. Like this. And he said, yeah, here's your speed. Yeah, you go in. I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. There was a 150 dirham fine.
Yeah.
Which is just shy of £15. Which, it's not a lot to us, but it's obviously enough of a deterrent over there.
It would be.
And they take all your details down. The guys were very friendly.
Yeah. That's because you weren't horrible to them. You was like, yeah, all right, okay, that was my fault.
I imagine, yeah, you gob off at them, they'll probably gob
Exactly.
back. As they were finishing up with me, they pulled over another vehicle. It was a Moroccan car, but it was obviously being rented by a couple of Brits. And he's like, oh, bad day for the Brits. Like, apparently so, yeah. So, yeah, that was...
something.
That was educational. There you go. So we carried on to Verzazat. Just outside of Verzazat was the Hills Have Eyes garage.
Oh yeah, that we
Which we
accidentally
stopped
found after watching The Hills of Eyes.
Yeah.
In Spain.
So yeah, that was literally just on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Apparently it's where they filmed... No, we'd watched it in Spain. It didn't look like the one from the first film. It must be from the second film.
It must be, yeah.
Because it didn't look like the one we'd recently watched. And it's just like anything else in Morocco. There's a guy there at the front.
Yeah.
And he was showing someone else round, but you just pay him on your way out.
Yeah.
Just give him a few dirhams.
Just look around, take some pictures.
Yeah.
It's still quite cool.
It was quite cool. I'd say it was, as we were going past, it was definitely worth stopping.
Yeah.
But it's not worth
going out of
for unless you're a massive Hills Have Eyes 2 fan. And that was just outside Verzazat. So we got in there and we happened to find a mechanic who understood the problem, I think, because he spoke a little bit of French. Because we should point out, didn't have Arabic installed on the Google Translate. So I was trying it in French and there was a word he picked up. He's like, oh yeah,
Understood.
he just understood. He's like,
Yeah.
right, and I think, okay, good. He's got some idea. And it was a big garage with, I don't know what you call them, the little rails that lift the van up,
Yeah.
and a channel things they can get in the ground and get
Have a look
underneath
at it, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, come back in the morning, and
We'll have a look.
We'll have a look. Okay, and that was the night we slept in a petrol station car park.
Yeah, that's basically services, wasn't it?
Yeah, which sounds horrible. It was actually a really peaceful night. There were showers and toilets if you wanted to use them.
Yeah.
There was a restaurant there.
Yeah,
which
which
was
is quite nice
Satinated.
food.
And the thing I'd forgotten about, reread when I was researching this, there's like a night watchman, obviously for the petrol pumps, and he was playing a recording. It was like just passages of the Quran being read,
Oh, yes.
but to like just soothing music,
Yeah.
and that was actually really
Nice.
soothing when
Yeah.
going to sleep. It was quite nice. So the next day, went to the garage. They realigned the wheels.
Mhm.
So they did, yeah,
Yes.
and the steering wheel. So took the steering wheel because the steering wheel was wonky.
Slightly wonky. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't straight when you were trying to drive straight.
Yeah. So they realigned that. Took it for a test drive with me, but still had the same problem.
Mhm.
I think we did have to pay them. I didn't write down how much.
We did pay them. I
Maybe
think
about
that was
100 dirham?
150 dirham as
Right,
well.
Okay. But they had I don't say the secretary or a woman working
lady,
there.
yes.
The lady working there. She came out. She spoke English really well, and she said to take it to. There was a Renault garage in town.
Yep.
So we're like, okay, cool. We didn't know.
The reason why she said that,
Yeah.
was because they thought it might have, like, the wheels needed balancing, but they
Okay.
only had car wheel sized
Oh,
equipment.
that's right. Yes.
Our wheels
I've
are
forgotten that.
a bit larger, so
Yeah.
she's like, go down to the Renault garage. They might have it
Yeah.
there, and if they don't know, like, if they don't have it, they'll be able to point you to someone who does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just thought actually, we were looking up when we were in Taff Road. We were looking up the nearest Renault dealership. It's in Agadir, but it wouldn't have been. It would have been in Wazazak.
No, Vozazat is further away than Agadir.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fair enough. Well, whatever. So we went to the Renault. Oh, that's right. No, we asked her. We said, could you just write down
Yeah,
in
exactly what you
in
said.
Arabic what we need doing?
Yeah.
So we can just hand these people a piece of paper.
Exactly.
And so we found this Renault dealership. Vazazat, just to point out, I suppose, is obviously because it's the city of the film studios.
Mm.
So you're on quite a big, grand road on the way into town,
Yeah, it's
and it's
quite
all
a
very
wide
clean.
road, yeah.
And it wasn't really touristy, I wouldn't say.
No.
Not comparable to like Essaouira or places like that.
Mm.
But it's still you can tell there's a fair bit of money there.
Yeah.
A disproportionate
It's quite
amount of
nice.
money there. It was
Yeah.
quite a nice place. And we found the Renault dealership, and he sort of looked at it and was like, I don't know whether we couldn't do it for whatever
No,
reason.
he said that he couldn't, that the guy he uses was the one he pointed us to.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, so we just had to drive around the corner to some other garage.
Yeah,
Um,
to a tyre and wheel place.
Yeah, and they got us in, and they rebalanced the wheels,
Yes.
which I'd never seen done before. They just put weights on the
Yeah.
wheels, don't they, to balance it. And they did that, and apparently that was 120 dirham. We
Mhm.
sat and had a coffee while they did it,
We did.
and then
The luxurious part of our trip where we can just like, oh, yes, it's okay, we've got time to kill.
Yeah,
We'll
we've
just have a coffee.
time to kill, and it is cheap.
Yeah,
We will have a
exactly.
coffee while the men work.
Yes.
Um,
Well, we spent most of these podcasts complaining about how we didn't have any money, so now we're
That's
just like,
very
we just
true,
had a
actually. Yeah,
coffee,
that's very
you
true.
know?
Yeah. No, it would have been nice to go on a tour or something of the film studios.
It would have been, but another time.
Like you say, we could have afforded it,
Exactly.
but we just didn't have the time. It was
Mhm.
not money; it's time with us. It's always
Exactly.
something. So they did that. We started driving out towards our stop for the next night, which was Tinghir. That's probably not how you pronounce it.
Tinghir.
Tinghir. The van felt better at first,
Mm.
but then we got out into more open roads, and it was there was still a wobble.
Yeah.
But now it kind of changed each time you started the engine.
Mm.
Sometimes it'd be better, sometimes it'd be worse. It was just odd. It seemed to get to a certain amount of revs and it would ease off. So
Yeah.
that was fine. So we carried on. Vazazat apparently is also known as the gateway to the Sahara.
Is it?
Yes, so I've written down.
What is that?
Vazazat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Alrighty.
I mean, it wasn't. When you think of the Sahara, you think of sand dunes and things like that. It wasn't that, but it was still what you would call desert, a rocky desert. And that was when we drove past. Probably going to get pronunciation rather of this one. No, probably not actually. The Nor 1 thermosolar plant.
Oh yes,
Great
that
big
thing.
solar plant. Yeah.
Yes. Do you know what Noor means?
No.
Noor is light.
There you go. That makes sense.
In
That's
Arabic.
clever.
Yeah.
That's clever. See. It's just a huge solar plant. You can't really see it from the main road. I think we saw. So it's one of those solar plants that have a big tower in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have solar reflectors all around it, and they reflect the sun into the tower
Mm-hmm.
in the middle.
Yeah.
But so you could see a little bit of the tower, I remember. But the really cool thing we could see is like where other beams of light were being reflected and meeting each other.
Yeah, there's 2 spots, I think, if I remember correctly, where they met, all crossed over in the
Yeah,
middle.
just a light spot
Yeah.
in the sky, and it's like, wow, okay, that's.
I think I managed to
That's
capture on the camera as
You
well,
did.
which I didn't expect it to.
Yeah,
so that
you
was kind
did.
of cool.
That was really
It's a
cool.
terrible photo, but we know what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, then we just carried on along these just, no more mountain roads,
Yes.
just big
True.
straight roads, and through again not what you'd pick when you say desert, not sandy desert,
Mm.
but rocky expanses of
But
not
again,
a lot.
in quite a lot of countries, like where you say it's just an open, straight road, you kind of just like, oh well, that must be quite boring. But not in Morocco. It was
No, it's still scenic on the horizon.
exactly.
You're still surrounded by mountains. They're just a long way away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful yet strange.
Yeah. And then we eventually got to Ting here, which was a huge city.
And they were having a lot of work done, weren't they? They were expanding the city massively.
And I think part of our maybe ignorance or naivety, I'm not sure. I think because we thought, oh, we're now in. Ouazzazate was the gateway to the Sahara, so it must get pretty desolate out here now. Like, no, not in the slightest.
No.
Because there's still touristy areas, and I say Ting here was an absolutely huge place. Our stop was outside of the city,
Yeah.
basically in someone's back garden.
Yeah.
That was where we saw the warning sign for camels.
For camels.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, don't see that every day. So yeah, we stopped in these guys. We just missed his entrance to his house, and he just happened to be outside.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, a place to stay?" And this is where we're going. So we got in, we pulled up. I think there was a German woman.
Yes.
Sat outside her camper van
Yeah.
next to us. And I think the guy was very friendly and all that, but too friendly.
It was a creepy kind of friendly.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
all the kids were coming up and like. No, it's one thing. This might sound arrogant or what, I don't know. You think, oh, all the kids were coming and saying hello, things like that. You think, oh yeah, because they're seeing new people from new places and things like that. But no,
but
they
it
were
wasn't
kind of
like that. It wasn't.
This one kid was like, he came up to me and said, "Oh, have you got any chocolate for me?" And I said no. And then
we don't eat chocolate.
And then I was like, "Oh, next time I'll bring some," sort of thing. But then his granddad, I think, called him over, and then he went into the darkness of the house, and then just started being shouted at.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Oh God, what's happening here?"
Well, when I looked at the reviews for that place, because we were looking for somewhere to stop
Yeah.
in that area, when I looked at the reviews for that place, people did say that like everything's fine until you're about to leave, kind of a thing, and then all of a sudden they want more money and the kids want stuff and they get quite aggressive and things like that.
I mean, we didn't get any of that, but we were saying, "Oh no, we're leaving early in the morning we wanted to get to Merzouga and just sort of walk around
and have a look, basically, before our time.
And he's like, no, you can get there in 2 hours. It's fine. Stay here, have lunch. We were like, no, we're leaving. I didn't have the exact money to give him. He had to go and get change, and it was about 20 minutes getting that. And I'm there, like, is it worth waiting for? We need to leave. But we did leave before we got threatened into the family or whatever, or sworn in.
You live here now.
Yeah. But that day was actually a really good day driving wise. There was very little wobble.
Yeah.
We stopped a few times just to sort of take in the enormous vastness of where we were. And then as you get closer to Merzouga, all the fossil shops start popping up. And there was the one that we stopped at on the way out, wasn't it? Like the side of a mountain. He's just painted on it like fossils with a big arrow. Yeah, and there are all these people just set up, and because it's all an old riverbed or something, like an ancient riverbed, so there's just fossils everywhere, and these people just make their living chiseling
away
ancient
fossils,
remains.
Yeah.
It's
That's so cool.
It is really cool, but we didn't.
There's also, was that close to, or am I thinking of a time after that? Because I think we went past it twice. The big giant dinosaur.
Yes, it's like a triceratops.
I think
it was. Yeah.
That was quite cool.
I don't think that wouldn't have been a real one.
No, of course not. But
it was a dead one.
Was it?
Yeah, just so you know.
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, we also did drive through quite a few little towns,
yeah.
on little roads, didn't we? Yeah. On the way to Merzouga, which we've been told was quite touristy.
Yeah.
Because that's where people go to ride camels. Because Merzouga's on, like, from about half an hour before you get there, you can see these sand dunes.
Yeah.
On the horizon. You're like, right,
Yeah.
okay, this is it. We're in the Sahara now. And then we drove through the village, which is where we had to get to for our camel ride.
Yes.
Because that's just outside Merzouga. And we got to Merzouga, and literally, like, there's a T-junction at the top end of the town, and we turned left to get into the town, and there's a little, like, a cafe or something on the corner, and this guy came running out of his cafe, waving his arms, into the road to try and get us to stop to go to his cafe.
Yeah.
Like, hello, come in, drink, I have drinks. Like, no. No, thank you.
No, thanks.
And we carried on, and there's just people trying to beckon you in, and the road, you sort of carry on past the whole town.
Yeah.
And I remember you go through the big, like a gateway, archway sort of thing. And then the road eventually just stops.
Yep.
And becomes sand.
It literally, like, that is it. The tarmac just turns into sand.
And there's
It's
just
quite cool.
a sand dune in front of you, and you're like, okay. And there's a big car park there, so we pulled up, and straight away someone's over there trying to sell us stuff.
Yeah.
We're like, no, we just want to go walk in the sand. Because my thinking was, this is the Sahara.
Yeah.
Right? Biggest desert. Is that right? Biggest desert on the planet?
Maybe.
Yeah. Big desert, anyway.
Yes.
Stretches all the way from Morocco through Algeria into Tunisia. Tunisia in the Sahara is where they filmed Star Wars. Therefore, I'm on Tatooine. And I'm happy now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know what was going through your mind at the time.
I think also a guy was trying to sell us. That was the guy was trying to get us to come to his ATV like quad bike tour thing.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, we've already got camera rides booked. And he's like, well, you come to me the day after. It's like, well, yeah, we'll come and have a look tomorrow. We're not going to come and look tomorrow.
No.
So then we actually went back. There's a great big hotel on that road.
Enormous resort
Huge
thing,
resort,
wasn't it?
yeah. So we just went in. They had a cafe, so we just went in there for a coffee. Where we were just sort of we weren't even in a cafe, were we? Like,
no, we just kind of went upstairs to their like little restaurant-y.
Yeah, and I think it seemed like he was the owner. He came and he was like, "I'll get you a coffee." And like, cool,
thanks.
Yes, thank you. You don't want a room? No, just a coffee first. Yeah, so we actually didn't explore Merzouga.
As much as we'd like to.
Yeah, because we're just not fans of that aggressive sales technique.
Yeah.
They're just constantly up to it, and I suppose it's the off season, so they don't have much choice of customer. But it doesn't make us comfortable.
No.
So we didn't, unfortunately. So we just drove back to where we were going to get our camels from. I couldn't remember the name of the village or settlement or whatever you'd call it.
No.
No.
Okay. Sure.
But they had a big car park. Well, they had a car park.
They had a car park.
We pulled
up tucked away.
Yeah, we pulled up at the hotel, and you can leave your van in there for the night if you want. So we did. Because the trouble was, the confusion was, we were under the impression that we would be given a room in this hotel.
Yes.
So we drop our things in the hotel, like our toiletries and such, and then we go out on the camels to the desert, spend the night there, and then when we come back, we can have a shower or whatever, and then leave again. That wasn't the case. And we were being taken out into the desert. There would be showers, weirdly, in the desert, and then we just come back and leave.
Yes.
But I wrote down the guy's name. Mohammed was there to meet us.
Yes.
Who I think you'd spoken to. So
No, I'd spoken to his brother.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
So he brought us in. He sat us down. He made us tea. He gave us some nuts to eat.
Yes.
Basically, while we were waiting for the others to turn up, we were going out in a little group.
Yep.
They eventually turned up. We jumped into the cars, and they drove us out there.
Yep.
So the other people in the group, they were a French couple, weren't they?
Yes, but the chap was from Senegal.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And they had a guide
Yes.
with them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Who
they did.
didn't ride on the camels, but he walked with us. Sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Which fair play, because walking on sand dunes is hard.
Yes. Yes, it is. And of course, we had Dargo with us.
We did, yeah.
We thought we were taking Dargo on a camel, so we told them beforehand that we're bringing the cat. They're like, yeah, that's fine, no problem. We paid for a private tent out in the desert. So they drive you out, and there's loads. This whole area is just full of hotels.
Yeah.
Right up to the edge of the dunes, and we drove down basically to one of the other hotels, and there were just 4 camels waiting for us. And so we all get on, and I was on the back,
Yeah.
which I like, because then I'm going to be able to see anybody who falls off. And you were in front of me. So we get on these camels, and I can see Dargo through the bag.
Yeah.
So we get up, and Dargo's just looking at this camel, the
Like,
one I'm on, just like, what's happening? And occasionally trying to give her a sniff, and she's just like hissing at it. Because I think she'd go for a camel. Like,
I think she would.
if she felt
back
threatened,
down
no.
from a challenge.
And so we were off. We were on camels in the Sahara Desert.
It still seems so surreal.
Yeah. So the way this one were, I imagine you can get all sorts of different packages if you pay the money for it.
Oh yeah, of course.
We went out maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour or so. I can only really estimate the times. Can't really remember. And they take you out to the foot of a huge dune.
Chebi, I think it is, or Chebi, something like that.
There you go.
That's one of the biggest dunes in that part.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. And they just sort of they didn't communicate this well, because they sort of, we're going to get off for a bit of a break.
Yeah.
So we all got off, but then people started. So other groups were meeting there as well, and people started trekking up to the top of this huge dune. And I was like, well, how long have we got?
Yeah.
But after going up one of the smaller ones, I decided it doesn't matter, because there's no way I'm going to climb up the top of that thing. And then we let Dargo out on the Saharan sand.
We did.
She's not quite sure about sand, is she?
No,
she's...
because it's not solid.
Yes.
So she's a little bit like, it moves.
What is this? The floor is not stable.
It feels weird on my toe beans.
And we were probably there for the best part of an hour, weren't we?
I think so, yeah.
It was a good long while. And we all got back on the camels, and then they took us out to another bit, kind of like a pockmarked sort of bit, with loads of little bumpy hills, and we sat there and watched the sun set
We did.
over the Sahara,
Yeah.
which is very nice.
And that's where one of my favourite photos of you and Dagi comes from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dargo was she was using me as like shelter in the desert. She just clung to me the whole time.
Well, you're this like big imposing structure in this vast open land.
And create a lot of shade.
Exactly.
What you're saying. And yes, we watched the sunset, and then you get on, and then you go to the camp for the night. Because by the time we got there, it was pretty much dark.
Yeah.
And then did we go to we sat for a bit. They had tea and I think nuts and chocolate or something waiting for us. And we dropped our stuff off in the tent, which was, so they were permanent, semi-permanent tents. So it's like wooden frames all nailed together, just with thick rugs thrown over the top of them. And
kind
you
of
had
like yurts, but not quite.
Yeah, and you had the Moroccan beds inside, which just like kind of glad we went to Hammers beforehand, so we were kind of prepared for that. So just a rock hard bed and just lots of thick blankets to keep you warm.
Kept us warm though.
It really did keep
we
us
slept
warm.
in the middle of the, I say middle of the desert, but we were in the desert
in January,
and it was cold.
Yeah. So we left Dargo. We had to tie Dargo up in the tents while we went for our meal.
I thought we took Dargo with us for the meal. She was in the bag.
No, we did walk her out at one point, but not for the meal, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
No, I think we brought her out. I can't remember. But we did leave her in there for a bit by herself.
Yeah.
And we went out, because we kind of went out and sort of socialised a bit. And then they had dinner. I think that's, maybe it was after dinner we took Dargo back.
Yeah.
And then we went out, and the guy, I don't know, tour guides, the Berbers, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think they were Berbers, not sure. They brought out some musical instruments they were playing. They were trying to get us to sing and
They were.
dance.
That's not
Now,
happening.
at this point, I think the French couple,
Yes.
sorry, the French girl and the Senegal guy had gone to bed.
Yeah, they had.
So we were with people from another group. So we had the two German lads who
Mhm.
were on holiday together, and I think she was a Korean girl
Yes, I think
who
so.
was by herself. And none of us wanted to dance.
No.
But then they started passing around drums, and I was like, right, here we go.
My moment to shine.
My moment. So we had to play the drums for a bit, and then we just sort of sat just talking to
Yeah.
people.
I will point out in this bit I was not willing to participate, and yes, that is very unsporting of me, but I have zero rhythm.
I don't think anybody wanted to
Like-
participate. I was happy to participate when the drums came out.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, like
Um,
at the drums, they were trying to get me involved, and I was
yeah.
just like, no. I literally cannot even clap in time to music, this is not happening.
But no, then we were all telling stories about how we all have different names for the constellations.
Yeah,
Like we were on about I know we don't it's not the Big Dipper, it's the Plough,
plough, yeah,
or the Great Bear.
yeah.
But then the Germans were like, oh no, we call it something
Something
else.
else,
And
yeah.
then the Moroccans were like, oh no, we call it this, and this is
Mm.
the story of it, things like that. And we started quite late.
We
doing
did,
that.
yeah.
Just sat out because it was a perfectly clear night.
Mm.
And it's so deathly quiet apart from the dogs, because you're still in Morocco and there's still dogs barking at night. And then we went to bed with the intention of watching the sunrise.
Yes.
The night wasn't great,
No.
because there must be wild cats or something,
Yeah.
because they were on the roof of the tent. And we
Dargo
we
was-
woke up because Dargo was just hissing. And she
Yeah.
didn't know she didn't know where she was hissing at. It was quite distressing.
Mm.
Especially because I then put my light on my phone, and now she's squinting and just hissing. I was like, okay, that's a horrific sight. I don't like seeing that. But we did eventually get to sleep, and we got up, and they'd set up, they're like sand chairs, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's all metal tables and chairs, but they've got huge feet, so they don't sink. And there was one on a little dune, so we walked up there and sat, and the two German lads and the Korean girl came out and watched the
Yeah.
sun rise up over the other side.
That was quite cool.
That was really cool. And then we all went in for breakfast,
We
which is
did.
just a traditional Moroccan
Yeah.
breakfast. There's little like,
Olives,
jams and
honey,
breads and things.
bread.
Yeah. And then we got back on the camels. Oh, that's right, because the French girl and the Senegal guy
Mm.
they didn't ride the camels back, did they?
No, I think they were in a hurry, weren't they?
Yeah, they got in a car and went. So they said, all right, well, the rest of the two groups will go together then. So
Yeah.
we rode back out with the two German guys and the Korean
Yeah.
girl. And that was just one trek. You didn't go to the dunes at all. Just sort of
No.
cut across and in one go got to a place and just waited for the cars to come and pick us up.
Yeah. Well, I think it was that morning ride back was optional,
Yeah, I think it
Um,
was, yeah.
but we all we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And the Korean lady,
Mm.
she didn't get a ride out
Oh,
because
that's
she
right.
arrived later.
Yeah, that's right.
So that they she was asked do you want to ride a camel back because we've got a spare one,
Mm.
and she kind of looked at me like, should I was just like, yes, come with us,
Yes,
let's
definitely.
do this.
You're in the
um,
desert, you should ride a camel.
You really should, you're going to miss it if you don't. So that was nice.
Yeah. We got back there, we all piled in. Somehow we all managed to fit in one car. And drove back to the same hotel.
Yeah.
I think at that point, because the Korean girl was on her own, I think they just happened to be going to the same place.
Yeah, they were.
She went with the German guys.
Yeah,
um,
they gave her a lift up to
so that
wherever
worked
they were
out.
going. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
so
was
that
nice.
worked out well for them. Also, we told them where. I think they hadn't been in the country long. They'd only been there about a week.
What, the German chaps?
Yeah, German chaps.
Yeah, they were just out for a small holiday. They
Yeah.
weren't. Yeah, it wasn't anything major. They seemed to do that all the time because they were saying
Yeah.
about the other places they'd been to. They were nice lads.
They were, and because this was technically the end of that was our last
That
holiday
was.
destination in Morocco. We
Yeah.
now had to get from Merzouga we had 2 days. We had
2
that
days.
that day. Well, we had the rest of that day, the whole next day,
Yeah.
and then the day after that, I think was the Friday,
Mhm.
and that's when we had to be out of the country.
Yes.
So, we covered the actual crossing in the first
The
Morocco
first. Yes.
episode, whatever. Probably should have written that down. Something like, I don't know what it is. The first Moroccan one. But we still had to get there. So we're in No, to lie to say it's one of the more southern parts of Morocco. Morocco's an odd shape.
Yeah,
It was a long drive.
it was.
So we picked our spot the first day. We were going to go to a little spot just south of a town called Azro. Azru, not sure. Because they said, the listing said there were macaque monkeys.
Yeah, apes.
Apes,
Remember?
sorry. No tails. There were macaque apes in the trees. So we were like, that's cool.
Yeah.
We'll go there. Well, saying that out loud now, after all the hassle we had with the van, seems daft to willingly go to where there's apes, which could start pulling things off and
They weren't that
messing
bad.
with it. Well, they weren't there, were they?
They're not that aggressive, yeah.
No. So that was a long drive, but I think to date,
Boy, what a drive.
that was the most diverse drive on the entire trip.
Yes.
So we started off in the Sahara Desert.
Very much in the Sahara
Very
Desert.
much in the Sahara Desert. We went through towns, we went through villages, we went through cities, we went through canyons, we went by lakes, we went by rivers.
Yep. We started off with dry rivers and ended up in...
We were going past reservoirs and
Exactly.
dams and all sorts, and mountain roads and valley
It
roads.
was just crazy. It's such a beautiful drive.
And we ended it in amongst pine trees
With snow
with
on the
snow
ground.
on the ground.
And actually being cold that night.
Yeah, but on the way there, I remember the van was struggling a little bit. There wasn't much acceleration. And then we realised that we are, despite being on flat ground and there's still mountains around us, above us, we were, I can't remember how much, but a couple of kilometres above sea level.
Yeah.
Like we were high up, and I think, well, that's why there's not enough oxygen. The air's thinner.
Yeah. Poor Moy.
the
Poor old
en-
Moy is struggling.
Yeah, the engine's not coping with it too well.
That's also where there was the snow barriers,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, before some towns, and we were
Yeah.
like, oh dear.
Well, I'm not sure whether we mentioned that or not, but sometimes in Morocco you'll be driving and you're going to either in or just out of a village, and there'll just be a barrier,
Yeah.
which will hopefully be up.
Yeah.
And if it's down, that means that road goes over mountains, and it's currently impassable.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we stopped there, and we didn't see any macaques, unfortunately. But probably because we were the place we stopped, there were loads of people there, weren't there?
There were.
And there were people in the woods having campfires.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, really? Like, see, this is the kind there were people there who, and we've said before about when you're stopping in places, you need to be respectful. And the people were just
The
not.
area. Not at all.
You look at them and you're like, right, this is the reason that people ban camper vans. This is why Portugal hates camper vans.
Yep.
Stop it. I mean, but then again, Morocco's not exactly the cleanest of countries, but
It's
still,
not, but that
it's
doesn't mean
not
that you can
entirely-
just add to the problem rather
Yeah.
than taking away from it.
Which was a shame. That's also the first time we'd seen British number plates in a while.
Yep.
But we had no interest in mingling with anybody.
No.
So we spent the night there, and then we carried on the next day. We were going to the town of Martil, which is part of the city of Catavan,
Yes.
which is about 20 minutes south of the border with Ceuta.
See what they are.
The drive, still very impressive drive.
Oh, yeah.
Not nearly as diverse, and most of it that day was toll roads.
Did I drive that day?
No, you didn't drive at all when we had the van. After
Oh,
the
okay.
van, no. But that is when we stopped to take advantage of people, the pottery stores on the side of the road. We wanted a tagine pot,
Oh, yes. Tagine man.
and they just, because you can get tagine pots and cups and all sorts of anywhere, any city, anything like that.
Yeah.
But these are just independent people. They just make.
Well, they're just little stalls right next to their kilns, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
not...
Yeah, and they're just on the side of the road. There's just pottery.
Yeah.
I'll come and have that. And you got the tagine pot for it's about £5, so.
Yeah,
Equivalent,
if that,
yeah.
yeah.
And
£4 or £5.
and as a reference, we looked. If you want to buy one off Amazon, some of them are about £80. So,
Yes. You mean I can flog mine?
yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Although did miss out. We did stop at one of the fossil shops on the way out, didn't
Yes, we did.
we? The only thing with that, the guy, he had so much.
He did.
And some of it was absolutely amazing. But we didn't have the money to pay him what we thought was fair.
No.
Because he goes into this just vast open field,
Yeah.
pulls out rocks and cleans these fossils out and polishes
them
and all
and
that thing.
yeah.
The work he's put into it, it wouldn't be fair. The amount of money we were willing to pay wouldn't be fair to him.
No.
So we didn't
Yeah.
give him any money, which sounds
worse.
weird. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, we'll get some tagine pot anyway.
Yeah.
And then we got into Saint Martil, which is part of Catavan, and that was a proper campsite, which is about a 5-minute walk from the beach.
Yeah, and that was quite nice, wasn't it?
Well, we found out that place, because Catavan's actually a bit inland, whereas Martil was the, I suppose, borough, if you like, actually on the coast. And then we read there that is like a local tourist place.
Yes.
That's where Moroccans go for their summer holidays, sort of thing. And it is just a big beachfront town.
Yeah, with a massive promenade and things like that. Pretty decent market, actually.
There was quite a sprawling market, wasn't
Yeah,
there? Down all the streets.
that's a tip.
Yeah.
Because we did some shopping there before coming into Spain, because we were like, all the fresh veg and everything like that, we can get some from the market there.
Yes.
Save ourselves a fair bit of money as well.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. That market is really cool.
Yeah.
And that's down, I don't know where it's...
Oh, I can't remember. I tried to
Look
find
it
it
up.
on the map, but yeah, but it's we walked quite a way, and there was so that market was like all the fresh fruit,
Yeah.
things like that. But they're also on the street, so we're just more of a street markets are selling like bags, tracksuits, things like that.
Yeah. I think so the best way to describe that is if you just keep the sea on your left and just walk down.
Yeah.
You'll eventually get to this open bit of road, and the market's like across the river.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
And that was it. We stayed at a campsite, like a proper, you go in and pay and they have toilet blocks, shower blocks, things like that. So we did all that, and got ready to head to Europe.
Yeah, again.
Europe and Africa before we get back across. I say that was not a pleasant crossing, but we went into that on the border crossing.
Yes.
Well, the crossing wasn't bad. There was troubles.
Yeah.
Incidents.
Well, which we were warned about beforehand anyway, so we knew, we were aware.
We were.
All we can do is make other people aware.
Yeah.
Really.
And we later learned that the queue we had was...
We were actually very fortunate.
We could have had such a worse wait to get over that border.
Yeah.
And we didn't, which was good. And so that was
Morocco.
It kind of ended on an odd... The last week was really up and down. Like, one of the absolute low points of the whole thing.
Yeah.
To one of the highlights.
Yeah.
In the desert.
Yeah.
I don't think we covered... No, we didn't cover... how we fixed... Or what was wrong with the van when we fixed it.
No?
No.
Okay.
I think we said we'd cover it in this one. We haven't got to go on for it for too long because we're just pushing an hour at the moment.
Okay.
But, so we still had the wobble.
Yes.
But it was not very noticeable, luckily, for the long drive back to Spain. So we got into Ceuta, got on the ferry, got back to the mainland, and I think we realised we're near Gibraltar.
Yes.
They speak English.
Yep.
So you gave them a ring. Their garage is too small to fit a Renault Master.
Yes, and the next availability was, I think, 2-3 weeks.
Oh, that's right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, that's not a possibility.
So then you got on. It was like a live chat service. Yeah. For the place nearby in Algeciras.
Yep.
They couldn't do us.
No.
So correct me if I'm wrong on any of these points.
Sure.
Then so that was on the Friday. They then got you booked in for a place in, I can't remember the name of the place. I can't remember where. Somewhere, some town further up the board, further round.
Yeah, it was between
Portugal.
Algeciras and Cadiz, wasn't it? Yeah.
For the Monday morning. So we got round there first thing. They came out and said, no, you physically can't fit in the garage. So we got back on the live chat service. They managed to get us in that day in Cadiz. We got into Cadiz. We left the guy to look at it. We booked an Airbnb for the rest of the week. The guy, it was the owner, came out and had a look at it, and because he spoke English.
Yes.
And he said...
The manager, sorry.
He said, yeah, this is going to be about till the end of the week to get this done.
Yes.
Said, okay. So we're in this apartment in Cadiz, and the thing I like about this, I don't know whether it's all Renault dealerships or all dealerships or what, but they will send you videos and photos
Yeah.
of the work they're doing.
Of what's going on.
And now I can't remember exactly where this thing was, but they thought we'd need a new gearbox.
Or a reconditioned one. Yeah.
Because they couldn't find the ball bearings
Yes.
for
The transmission
the
arm.
transmission arm.
So where the transmission arm connects to the gearbox, there's normally a whole load of ball bearings in there. But when they took it apart, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And they were worried that the ball bearings had shredded, basically, and gone into the gearbox,
Yeah.
which would ruin everything.
And would cost about €2,000 to
2 to 3,000.
2 to 3,000 to repair, on top of all the other work they needed doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking, right, this is the end of the trip.
Yeah.
This is it.
We're going to have to go home.
But then the next day, maybe, or 2 days later, they sent us a message and a video that no, we know the ball bearings have not shattered
Yeah.
because it's been replaced with a bit of hose pipe.
Yes. Red hose pipe.
A little bit of red hose pipe. I hope we've still got that video somewhere.
We
need to try and look
But
for
yeah.
it. And there's just a little bit of hose pipe sticking out where the ball bearing should be, and that's what was making it wobble.
Yeah.
So they, I don't know,
Well, they replaced the entire transmission arm.
well, they replaced
With
it. That's
fresh
right.
bearings and everything like that. So,
And that was it. Got rid of the wobble
yes.
and so all of that
Yeah.
because we wanted a paint job.
Yeah.
But they did solve the wheel falling off.
They
problem,
did do that.
which we didn't even know
Yes.
about. So
Which
that
was dangerous.
arguably, there's an argument to be made that was worth all the stress.
Yeah, maybe.
Not a convincing argument, but
An argument all the
yeah.
same.
So that's it. That was Morocco,
That was Morocco.
which means I can quickly go through the trivia
Oh my, yes.
that people
yes,
may
we
have been
can.
waiting like 4 or 5 episodes for. We probably mentioned half of these in the episodes anyway. So Morocco trivia, here we go.
Yes.
Rabat is the capital city,
Mm-hmm.
not Marrakesh. But Casablanca is larger because it's almost double the size and 6 times the population,
That's crazy.
which is insane.
Yeah.
Number 2, the flag, which
Mhm.
is just red with a
Green
five
star.
5-pointed star
Yeah.
on it. And it's 5. This is a bit of a bonus one. It's 5 points for the 5 pillars of Islam.
Yes.
Yes. It's been used since 1915. It only has 2 colours, red and green. Red represents the bravery, strength, and the hardiness of the people and the troubles they have been through to keep their country.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't a bonus point; it's in here. Yeah, 5-star, 5-point star because 5 points of Islam, and it's green because it represents joy, love, and happiness in their culture.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. This one by Acreage Atlas Studios, which is 5 kilometres west of Vazat. There you go. Is the world's largest film studio measured by acreage.
Interesting word. Acreage.
Acreage. It's interesting that it's by acreage, not by metres squared,
No, by acreage.
but by acreage. Fez, which unfortunately we didn't get to go to,
No,
is home to the world's oldest university.
that's quite cool.
Yeah, which was founded in 859 AD, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, but Al-Qarawiyyin? Maybe. Ween, not sure. A lot of Y's and I's in there. Number 5, the tallest peak in North Africa
Mm-hmm.
is Jebel Toubkal. I think we
Mm-hmm.
figured out Jebel is mountain, isn't it?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Is that not the one we had dinner on? Or near, like halfway up?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
In the high mountain Atlas range, it is 4,165 metres tall, making it the tallest mountain in the Arab world.
Ah, that's quite cool.
Number 6.
Been there.
Number 6, they have a national holiday called Throne Day, and it is on the anniversary that their current king takes the throne. So obviously it changes whenever a new king is crowned,
I see.
and it's been the 30th of July since Mohammed VI took the throne in 1999.
There we go.
The Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca, which we talked about in one episode, is the largest functioning mosque in Africa and the 7th largest in the world. Its minaret, that's what it's called here, the minaret is the 2nd tallest in the world at 210 metres, and the inside of the mosque has a capacity of 25,000 and can hold a further 80,000 people in the courtyard.
Which is crazy.
It's insane. So that's 105,000
Yeah.
people at a go, and that's the 7th largest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the one in the largest is the one in Mecca, and that can hold over 1 million. So.
Yeah, I've seen photos of that. That looks horrible. Number 8, the Berbers. People we knew nothing about when we went there,
No.
but I'd love to learn more about them.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
really
They're very
fascinating.
fascinating.
They are descendants of the first people to inhabit Morocco, defined as the pre-Arab race that inhabited North Africa. Okay. It is believed half of the Moroccan population descends from Berbers. The name was given by the Arabs as an abbreviation of barbarian, which they called them because they lived in the mountains and they spoke a language other than Greek or Latin.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's not because they were savage or anything
So it's
like
given
that.
to them by the Arabs.
The Arabs call them the Berbers.
Barbarians, because they didn't speak Greek or Latin, but
Yeah.
the Arabs don't speak Greek or Latin.
Yeah, so they're just speaking some language they don't
Unknown,
understand. Yeah,
okay.
some unknown language, yeah.
I see.
And when you see the writing, you can understand.
Yeah.
It looks like the alien language
It does look
Futurama
like
written
the
down.
alien language. It's so cool.
Number 9, 99% of the population identifies as Muslim, although many, particularly younger, are non-practicing except for Ramadan and other holidays.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing around the world at the moment.
Well, it's kind of like, a lot of people say they're Christian, but they just
do Christmas and
do
Easter.
Christmas and Easter, yeah. The ones where you get days off. Number 10, this is the one where I kind of feel for Morocco this year with everything going on. More than half of the Moroccan economy is based in the service sector. And each year, tourism increases by around 5% on the previous year, with 18 million tourists visiting in 2019. So 2020 may buck that trend.
Yeah.
And 2 little bonus ones. Morocco is the largest exporter of sardines in the world, which isn't a surprise when you go anywhere near the sea.
No.
And in Moroccan culture, the liver is considered the centre of love instead of the heart.
Fair.
So there you go.
There we go, indeed.
That's Morocco. God, I can't remember. I've forgotten half of those because I wrote that about 5 weeks ago. So there you are. That's Morocco.
Yeah.
There we go.
Tales of the cat that went to the Sahara Desert on camelback.
You wouldn't know now if you're sleeping upside down. Yeah, so that was the longest. We've been in that country longer than any other by this point.
At that point, yes.
Yeah, because it was a month. And our next destination was rushing through. Oh, we did stop a bit in Spain. Obviously, we covered that in the Spain episode,
Yeah.
and then through the south of France into Italy.
Yes.
Which is what we'll be touching on
Next
week.
Cool.
So yeah, I think that's about it. You can catch us. Let's start again. This podcast is available on all major podcast platforms. It's also available on YouTube. If you want to watch it there, please do like, share, subscribe, review. 5 stars, please. And only nice things. We're sensitive. We're on Facebook and Instagram at CatavanUK. You can email us at catavanuk@gmail.com. There you go, thank you. And we have a Redbubble store.
We do, yes, which is under the name Catavan. And anything that you see on Instagram or Facebook that you'd like to have as your own, let me know and I'll add it to there.
Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming.
Need those toys.
As is Halloween, if you think some of my pictures are particularly terrifying.
I mean, we do have a black cat.
Yes, we do. There's some very handsome pictures of this black cat.
Okay.
But yes.
So thank you very much for listening.
Yes.
Come back next time for Italy.
If you've had enough of Morocco. Remember, we do have Morocco videos and a tips and tricks video just for Morocco itself.
Yes, that's very
It's
true.
pretty long
Yes,
and quite rambly, as are most of our things, but...
Yeah, but I like to feel quite detailed.
Yeah.
And anything, if you're planning on driving or even visiting Morocco,
Yeah.
check out the videos on YouTube. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.